Graduates, my name is Frank Gant. I'm a principal at Lake Primary, and I'm here to kind of share with you some suggestions on how to prepare for an interview this time of year. This is a unique time of year due to this COVID-19 virus, and so a lot of your interviews are going to be very different. So I want to kind of share with you how you can attack that interview process a little bit differently in a Zoom, Google Meets, or some other way that they're going to virtually communicate with the interview candidate. What you can do is set up a Google Meet or a Zoom meeting with someone that you're not so comfortable around. You can give them questions ahead of time and you can set it up virtually so you can go through a mock interview with a neighbor, an aunt, an uncle, an acquaintance, and go through those questions with them. Record and get a chance to kind of look back, similar to what an athlete would do watching game film. And so you get an opportunity to kind of see how you interact with the person in the screen, through the interview process. Other aspects that you really want to focus in on is the setup. So your setup will be important. One of the things that's critical during this time is the lighting piece. So make sure you have a lot of natural light in the room that you're going to be using. Remember, the lighting can change depending on the time of day. Right now, I'm filming this in a dreary kind of day, so there's not as much natural light coming in this room. This room also will have different types of lights throughout the day. So wherever your interview is, make sure you know when the optimal time for lighting is inside of your room. And you always want to make sure the light is on your face, not to your back, because you don't want to look like you're in a witness protection. You want to make sure your background is nice, clean, and professional looking. Well, since I'm working from home, I'm using one of our rooms, and yeah, you see there's movie posters in the background. But other than that, you don't see clutter in the background. The paint is a very neutral paint. You see a lot of white, so very uplifting. Make sure you're in a space that is very clean and really tells a little bit about yourself. And lastly, for the setup aspect, make sure you're dressed nice. I love seeing the Walsh University gear and love seeing the Walsh University sweatshirts, but in an interview, I would expect to see a very professionally dressed person. Now, when it comes to the interview itself, and when you're answering questions, make sure you're giving good eye contact with the people in the meeting itself. Also, make sure your face is in a good position inside the camera. You can do that, like I said before, with the practicing with someone that you're comfortable around. You want to make sure your head is not super close and very large in the camera, and you don't want to be extremely far back as well. So you want to have a good balance inside that camera so they can really see your eyes, during the interview process itself. Make sure you're smiling a good amount. It's easy not to, smile in an interview process because you're thinking through some of these very difficult questions that you're not accustomed to. Be careful of noise as well. So if the windows to the room are open, you can hear the street noise, the animals, your dog barking. You always want to make sure you're looking straight at the camera or at this computer screen when they're asking you questions, because they'll ask you some questions that you really have to make some deep conscientious thought about, and people tend to kind of look off and start thinking, okay, that was a good question, let me think of the answer. And so they look off and they lose that eye contact. They don't see your computer screen. So you have an opportunity as well to kind of put little sticky notes or cheat sheets out there for yourself to really prepare for the interview. So as you're going through the interview process, there's certain things that you want to communicate to that interview team. There's nothing wrong with having a couple sticky notes right there to remind you of what you want to talk about during the interview. So with that, I wish you the best of luck, and good luck, and go Cavs.